And we are back. Sorry it's been a while, guys. Been waiting on a few parts and everything, but we're back now, and today's video is going to be a big one. So let's get straight into it. I'm not going to waste any more time. Today's video, we're going to be doing the 6-pot STI Brembo upgrade. We've got these lovely repainted, refreshed STI 6-pot caliper set with the STI logo already installed. I've gone through and cleaned these all up, made sure everything fits correctly, and pre-installed these HEL stainless steel braid lines as well. For the rear of the car, we're running these 2018 plus STI discs, as well as the associated pads from DBA. And on the front, we're running these gorgeous Paragon Performance 2-piece floating rotors, along with the DBA Street Performance pads for the calipers. I'm not going to waste any more time. I've already got the car up in the air behind me, so let's get straight into it. To start us off, we're going to be starting on the rear. Just going to remove the brake line and the caliper, and then we'll slide this disc off. I already have the handbrake disengaged, so we should just be able to knock this disc off. To undo the brake line is just going to be a 12mm. I'd already cracked this one just to test the bolt, so it's coming off nice and easy. From there we can slide this out of the way. There's then going to be two 17s on the back of the knuckle of the caliper itself. And just like that, we've got that bottom bolt free. And I'm just going to shuffle this caliper out the way. I'm not going to completely undo it just yet, as this will save us time when we come to swap the actual calipers over. So I'll just leave that hanging there for the moment, out of the way. Next, we're just going to need to get this disc off. Shouldn't take too much. And there's the old disc free. Definitely helps to have the handbrake completely off. I'm just going to test fit the new discs. I already know that I'm going to have to clean up some of the dust shield, as these discs are too large. Guarantees they all fit. So I've seen a few people just go around on like the weld points with a chisel or a screwdriver and just crack them off. It is already feeling pretty flimsy, so I'm going to look into just getting my rotary tool and just cutting out some of these welds. Well, after what was a lot longer than I thought the process was going to be, I've finally gotten the shield to a point where I might be able to slide it off. It's still partially stuck in a few places, so see how I go. And there we go. As you can see, there's quite a few spots where it's welded on. I've gone through with the rotary tool trying to get all of these out, but it took me a lot longer than I thought. Chisel on a few hammers as well, and then just brute force just to snap a few of them. I'll go through and just tidy up some of those points on the back, and then we'll get the new disc on. Just before we mount the disc up, I'm just going to give it a quick once over with some brake cleaner and some shop cloth. This will help get rid of any dust and debris and oil from factory. So and now we should be good to mount the disc up. Just use one of the lug nuts to hold it in place, and then we'll go get the caliper. So for the moment, I've just got the caliper preset. I haven't actually got any pads or anything in this just yet. I've just got it temporarily set up, ready to go. You'll have to use STI caliper hardware, as the bolt length and pitch and everything is a bit different, as you can see here. Focus. So you can see this is the STI caliper bolt on the left, and it's a bit shorter than the stock caliper bolt, and slightly different pitch and everything for the thread. So you have to make sure you've got the STI hardware ready to go as well before doing this conversion. So to mount up the caliper, we're just going to bring the caliper in, slot it all up, grab our first top bolt, only doing hand tight for the first one. There's our bottom. Now that we've got the caliper roughly in position, gonna get, I believe it's a 17 mil, and we're just gonna tighten these up. With the caliper roughly installed now, I'll go ahead and torque these down to spec. I'll put the spec up on the screen just so everyone's well aware. After that, we'll take off these keeper plates on the back and we'll throw in the brake pads. For doing pads on a Brembo setup, they're a little different to what I've shown in a previous video. What you'll need is anywhere between a 3 to a 5 mil punch, and we're going to drive through these securing pins. Just give them a light tap and they should start popping out the other side. Once they're free enough, you should be able to just gently pull them out the back. Be careful not to eject the securing plate. Now that that's clear and free, we can go ahead and install the pads. So jump forward a couple of minutes. What happened there was I forgot to take the tape off the pistons. So I've just pulled the caliper back off and made sure I've got all that tape clear. That was on the pistons just to make sure they were free. They they were kept out of the painting process. Back to installing the pads, we've got these DBA Street Performance spec pads. I'm just going to quickly grease them up with the included grease and slot them in. With the pads all greased up now, just go ahead and slot them in either side of the caliper, making sure we align these tabs at the top with the holes in the caliper. We'll now get our keeper plate and one of the pins and start sliding our retention setup back in. With the keeper plate, you're looking to go on top of the pads with the retention pin underneath. Got one through, I'll grab the other one. And there we go. I will just quickly get a punch on the back of these and slot them through a bit further, but that will be the first caliper done. With the caliper installed finally, we're going to go ahead and replace the brake lines, swapping over to the new stainless steel brake lines from HEL. These have already been prepped onto the caliper itself, so all we need to do is just clean up this area and swap on over the old brake line onto the new. Unfortunately, everything I seem to do seems to be rounding out the bolts, so I've got to come up with a better way to get this bolt off. I've even been using a 10mm flare nut wrench. I've even had to put tape on it to stop it from rounding out the actual bolt, the actual tool itself. But no matter what I seem to do, we've rounded out the bolt on the bottom of the brake line, which means I'm going to have to come up with an alternative method to get this off for the moment before I can fully swap over the brake system. I've still had no luck with that rounded out bolt on the brake line, so for the moment I'm just going to move on to the other side. I won't be filming this side as they'll be identical. I just want to get the brake calipers on and squared away. I'll see you on the other side and hopefully we can move on to the fronts. Well, it's been a little bit of time. Managed to do the other rear. Unfortunately, again, we've managed to strip the brake, or round out the brake line bolt. So I'm searching for alternative methods on that. So far, nothing. We'll play it by ear and see what happens. I've made the decision to move on to the front. This is going to be very similar to what we did on the rear. It's going to be removing two caliper bolt. Remove the two bolts behind the caliper. Get the disc off. On the front though, it's a bit different. We can actually unbolt the dust shield, so I'll show you that. And other than that, it should be pretty quick and straightforward. And I'll have a look at what the brake lines are doing after that. And there we go. Front caliper off. Once again, I'm just going to try and set this up top whilst we deal with everything else, and then swap over the brake lines at the end. This front disc should just come off. Now we should have three of these bolts, one down the bottom here, 1 and 2, And that should just allow us to remove this dust shield from the front. These bolts are just a 14mm, or 12mm, sorry. And might just need a ratchet wrench or something to get in behind this one, as it's behind the hub. And I'll just finish up getting this dust shield off. And just like that, that one's all free. So for the rotors on the front, we've got these lovely two-piece Paragon Performance rotors. These are specially made for the 2022 WRX to support the 6-pot Brembo conversion. These are directional vaned, so I've just made sure I've got the right one out of the box. These has already been sprayed up with some brake cleaner, and I'll just get a lug nut to secure it. Next up, we'll look at installing the caliper, and we should be nearly done. So I've just prepped up the caliper itself, gone through and removed as much of the tape as I could from the painting process. Still a few bits on here though. Again, like the rears, have to use the included Brembo hardware, otherwise it will not fit. These should also just be a direct bolt on. I have the caliper on now, it's loosely bolted up. I'll grab the pads and we'll slot them in and have a look at how it's all looking. For the front pad set again, we're running another set of DBA Street Performance Series. Like with the rears, these have already been greased up and they should just slot in. The major difference with the front is there's an additional retention bolt. This slots through the main section here and is just captured on the back with another bolt. Again, we have a retention bracket and a couple of retention pins. The shorter end goes towards the top, and this time the pins themselves actually slide over the top of the bracket. So we'll just get this first one started, and you can slot this one in underneath. Line it up, push it through. Now we'll get this bottom one down, line it all up, and that should push through. I'll get this all squared up, and that should be the bulk of the front done, apart from the brake line, and we'll see how that all goes on this one. After much YouTube searching and deliberating, I've just gone ahead and actually worked in the old brake line for the moment. It's not what I wanted, but until I can get this bolt here out, then I'm not going to be able to swap over to the stainless steel braided ones, unfortunately. But this option now gives us the option to actually run the brake kit, which is better than having the car sitting on jacks for a bit until I sort the bolt out. I've gone around and done this on the 3 corners that I've completed so far. I'm just going to go complete the front one, or the front right, and then we'll start bleeding the brakes. Yeah, it's pretty late at night. It's actually dark outside, as you can see there. We do have all 4 corners of the car done now. You can see I'm just getting set up now to start bleeding the system. We're going to be starting at this rear left, as this is the furthest from the brake booster, which means we'll be able to push the most through the system. Swapping over to those older brake lines means there's still fluid in the system. We're just having to do the calipers now. so it's not too bad. I'll get the one-man bleeder set up on camera, and then we'll go through the steps. Shouldn't be too difficult. Come along, I'll just get the camera set up and we'll go through it. We've got a 2-port bleeder unit, so that's just going to feed into both our bleeders here. And we just magnetise that onto there. I'll crack these two with the 11mm, and then we'll start pushing some brake fluid through the system and get these pressurised. We've got a nice flow of brake fluid into there now. Just let that kind of do its thing. And it looks like we might have a drip on the back there, so I'll just quickly lock these up and move on to the next one. So I've just started up the car, dropped it off the ramps, but unfortunately we've got a completely dead pedal. My foot goes straight to the floor, so there's still a bit of bleeding of the system to do. It's just gone 7 o'clock, so I'm not going to deal with that tonight. I'm just going to roll the car back in and leave it for tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's a bit of a setback for now, but that's what it is, and we'll go from here. It's the next day now. Unfortunately, the weather's decided to turn a bit wild on us. As you can see, it's been raining almost all morning. That hasn't stopped us though. We've come back in and done a pretty extensive flush of the system on the brakes. Even went and got some more brake fluid and basically did a full flush of the system. So as a result, we do now have brake pedal feel, which is actually really good. I've just taken it out for a quick test drive. However, during that test drive, I'm not sure if this is a part of the bed-in process or not, but there's a few bits of knocking coming around, so just gonna hold off on the bed-in process for the moment until I can figure out exactly what's going on there. Until then, it's probably going to get a good check over again in about 2 weeks' time when we go for tuning, which I'll discuss in a second. But for the moment, this job's actually done. I'm pretty impressed with it. And I'll give you a quick look at the final look before we finish up this video. So there we have it, guys. The STI 6-pipe Brembo upgrade has been completed. I'm pretty happy with the results, and the color match, while it's not perfect, still suits the car really well. Going forwards, we've still got another couple of mods lined up and another couple of videos lined up for this car. Next video up will be the Process West front mount intercooler mod. I'll take you through step by step on that one, and whilst we have the bumper off on this one, we're also going to wire up a few things like hella horns and the JDM fog lights that we weren't able to do a couple of months ago. After that will be the NVIDIA J-pipe and a full custom tune to support all the existing mods. So in a couple of weeks time, this car's gonna have a bit of power under its wheels, which is also why we did the brake mod today. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and hope you enjoyed the quality that is the new A6700 camera over the GoPro. I'm finding it a hell of a lot easier to edit, so hopefully the video quality is coming through a lot better on your end as well. But for now, that's all I've got on this one. So I hope to see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out all the socials, as it'll keep you up to date with any of the mods coming up. And see you in the next one.